Hello, 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 and welcome back. I'm so glad that you are here. Today we are going to be talking about something very interesting, exams, exam takeaways, and practicing for exams. So I have my technical exam for my Conservatoire next week, and I have been practicing for it for many a week. From like multiple months ago, I've been working on it. And I thought it would be maybe a good idea to talk about it before I do it. So I'm gonna do it, and I'm sure that when I do it afterwards, we will catch up about it. But I think for now, it could be a good idea to talk about the prep, the practice, and the process of right now. So whether you are doing an exam, an audition, or nothing, and you just want to hang out, welcome. So I literally got back right now from a session with some friends where I played some of my exam repertoire, and right now my head I feel is just full of exam repertoire, and I'm quite nervous for it, and I'm very excited to forget all of it. Maybe not forget, but just to kind of relax afterwards and be like, okay, I don't have to remember this, that, and the other. I mean, we've all been there in terms of exams, whether it's like a written exam or a music exam, a playing exam. We've all kind of been there with I wonder what life will be like after I finish this. But for now, let's talk about 3 things that I have noticed from my prep with my exam. The first thing is it will be okay to take some rest. This is an interesting thing, and it kind of comes back to an episode that I did, I suppose, you listened to it, about when I took the week of Christmas off. And that's what I'm talking about. My teacher told me, I remember at the beginning of December, I was thinking about the week of Christmas. I was like, okay, it'll be some great time to get some practice in. And my teacher said to me, he was like, you should not practice during the week of Christmas. He was like, take the entire week off. And I was like, what are you talking about? Like, I have exams coming up. I also had auditions coming up. I had performances coming up, recordings that I had to do. I was like, there's no time to rest. And he was like, you need to rest. He was like, you've made some great progress in the first term, and now it's time to take a break, to take some rest for a week, whole week. Take a break, take some time, and then when you get back, you'll be more refreshed. And I trusted him. I was like, okay, I'll do it. And it was so good. It was so good. Now there are things that, there are takeaways that happened, and I will link the episode with those takeaways down below. But it was just so amazing to be able to have that and to do that. So I remember I was really nervous about it. I was like, am I gonna forget everything? And at the end of the break, I thought for a hot second, that I was gonna, I forgot stuff. I thought I had gone back. But what actually happened was my ear had gotten better. And that's something that I talk about in that episode about this break. So I'll link that down below in the show notes, in the description, depending on where you're watching or listening to this. But I think that is so interesting, because I'm so glad that I did it. I'm so glad that I rested. When I came back after Christmas, I was like, okay, let's do it. And I think the only reason now that I'm not absolutely sick of the sound of the oboe, because I've been practicing for this exam, is because I took that time to rest. So if you are thinking about resting, if your body's asking you to do it, then do it. I think it's a good thing. And maybe you can check with your teacher and kind of just get some check-ins, because it's also always a musician's fear of, am I resting too much? Should I be practicing? So it's always a balance. I feel it's always a balance. But for me, that rest was really monumental in my technical exam preparation and practice. It really was. The next thing we're going to talk about is specifically about practicing for the exam, and that is knowing what I need to work on and isolating on that, or isolating that. This is a very interesting thing because, I mean, right now I am practicing everything. I have a few days until my exam, so what I'm doing is I'm like doing the scales, doing the extracts, doing the studies, doing all of these things, and you know, I'm isolating some of it, but mostly it's more broad strokes just to make sure that we're all okay, everyone's fine, there's nothing, no random thing that I'm like, how does this go, you know, just like very, very good. But when I was practicing a few weeks ago, I was definitely isolating things. For instance, I remember I went to my lesson and my teacher said, he was like, you're a little bit behind from where I think you should be on scales for this exam. And I went home and I stressed. I was like, what are you talking about? I can't be behind on anything. I need to be good. I need to be good. And I stressed a bit, and then after calming down, I isolated that. So for a while, you know, obviously I still practiced studies, I still practiced etudes, or this is the same thing. I still practice studies and extracts. But I really focused on scales, and I remember there was like a week or a week and a half, and there was like a period of scale boot camp, and once I had that down, I was fine to kind of move on. But I think that is something that's really helpful, not necessarily just for a specific, preparing for a specific thing, but also just generally, you know, isolating on the things that you need to work on is a really good way to practice. In the scales, in that week and a half, I also isolated the specific scales that I needed to practice. For instance, I did not practice major scales. I can play major scales till the cows come home. Like, I am fine with major scales. Melodic minor, on the other hand, for me, that was confusing. I had no idea what was happening for that. So I focused on those. Also, I focused on specific scales in the melodic minor universe. So for me, G flat, G, G sharp, those were the three that I was like, they need help. They need the most help. So I focused on those. Really isolating those things. That is so helpful for preparation. So whatever you're preparing for, or maybe you're just practicing, think, what's the thing that I need to work on, and isolate that and work on it, right? A way to do that is to play, for instance, the scales, play all the scales and write down for each of them, are you comfortable? Are you not comfortable? Are you barely comfortable? And then play those ones that you are either barely comfortable or not comfortable on. The ones that you're comfortable on, they can chill for a second. You know what I mean? The last thing, which I literally just came home from, was playing for other people. This is so helpful. I literally just came home from some of my friends and we got a practice room, and I played my exam stuff. Some of them, like more than half of them, have already done their exams, so they were able to pretend to be the panel, which was very nice. And they just asked stuff of me. They were like, play G flat, harmonic minor, you know, tongued, flowing, etc. And that was really helpful. That was really helpful. For me, I also did an Instagram scales game over on my Instagram. I put on my stories, and I asked people to put in different scales, and then I recorded myself playing these scales and posted them on my stories. That's something, depending on if that's something that you're into, if you do have that, if you could do that with friends, or maybe, you know, whatever, if that's something that you're into, then maybe you could do that. Playing for your teacher. Oh my gosh, I played for my teacher all the time. The past 2, 3, actually probably 4 lessons have started out as kind of mock situations in some capacity or another. So I go in and he's like, you know, play this, play that, you know, and it's very much like a testing of, can we do this? And then also I've done classes, and this is more kind of through like in my conservatoire classes, where we focus on specific things for the exams. So I remember one time we did like a scales competition, which was really fun. So and even that, like we can do that. I know they're not my instrument, but there were some other students who kind of got their instrument, everyone who played that instrument together, and they did a scales kind of thing. They did a game. I don't know what they did. I wasn't there, but they did they did a scales thing where they all played scales. All of these things are great ways that I have found for prep for me, and I think hopefully I want to share this, so hopefully this can help you in whatever you are preparing for as well. Just play. I think mock auditions, this is not an audition, but mock auditions can be so helpful. I remember one mock audition I did, and I really didn't know that I wasn't prepared for my real auditions, and I went in and it wasn't good. It really wasn't good, and I'm very glad that I did that, because then I knew what to work on. So in terms of talking about all of this, in terms of practicing, in terms of preparing, and kind of being overwhelmed by all of the stuff that I need to do, the only thing, and I can say this with very much confidence, the only thing that has kind of kept me together in terms of organizing is my practice journal. My practice journal, if you're watching this, you can see it. My practice journal is like the thing that's holding me together in terms of my organization, and my practice journal is from Notable. I started using Notable's practice journals a few months ago, and it has really changed the way I practice. Now I can actually plan what I want to focus on. It's focused. My practice has gotten way more focused, and I think this is a big thing for when we're stressing about auditions or exams. I know when my practicing is over. That's a really important one, because a lot of the times, especially in the evening, my mind's like, you should be practicing. Why aren't you practicing? And I can literally look at this journal and be like, because I've already practiced this, that, and the other, and I'm fine. That's fine for today. So this is so helpful. It has helped me. There's also like reflection stuff in after every session, so you can make sure that you improve at least a little bit every day through reflection. It's really helped me. So as soon as I knew that this journal was working, I knew that I needed to tell you about it, and I knew that I needed to give you a code. So the code is Eleanor15 for 15% off your order. That is ELEANOR15 for 15% off your order. I will link the link in the description, in the show notes, so that you can get your journal and literally just upgrade your practice, your practice organization. It has really been the thing that has held me together through this exam season, seriously. So, all right, let's do a bit of a recap. Number one, it'll be okay to take some rest. That week of rest really helped me to not be sick of my oboe and to be fully refreshed and excited to dive in to all of the things that I needed to do for my exam. The second thing is knowing what I need to work on and isolating that. This can be so helpful, because if we just stretch ourselves over the things, even the good things that are fine, that we maybe don't need as much attention to, the stuff that we need attention to can slowly diminish and get worse and worse. So really isolating the things that we need to work on can be so helpful. And then the last thing is playing for other people. Anyone and everyone. Your teacher, your friends, people on Instagram maybe, if that's something that you do. All of these things can be so helpful. All right, I am gonna go take my exam. By the time you hear this, I will have taken it, but I'm gonna go take my exam now, and I'll let you know how I do. I'm very excited. All right, that is about it for this episode. Thank you so much for hanging out with me. As always, the stuff to do with the episode is in the description, it's in the show notes, including the, what's it called? The blog post, and all of the links to do with this episode, including the other podcast episodes that we talked about, and also the link to get yourself a notable practice journal. All right, take care. Bye-bye.